Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining. Today, we will talk about psychological courage. And so, first of all, to sum it up, psychological courage is the ability to break your restrictions and difficulties through change. So, it basically means overcoming your personal problems, worries, and sufferings. And so, it's the courage to overcome those. So, we'll look at some examples. For example, when Swami Vivekananda was successful in the US, so many Christian missionaries and their patrons and Christian fanatics were jealous of him. So they began to vilify him, both privately and publicly. And they wrote false stories to make his character look bad. Some of the Indian delegates of the parliament, jealous of Vivekananda's popularity and fame, joined the vilification. And then the missionaries in India and some Hindu organizations started an infamous campaign against Vivekananda and his work. When the Theosophists were particularly vindictive, they said that Swami Vivekananda was violating the laws of monastic life since he was eating foreign food, breaking caste laws. And his friends and disciples from India were scared, so they sent him the parts of the Indian newspaper containing those horrible reports. But then Swami Vivekananda never felt worried. He didn't feel scared. He courageously faced them. And his response was pay no attention to whatever newspaper nonsense or criticism. Everything will come all right. Truth must win. And there we have an example of an eagle. An eagle is a really good example of psychological courage for all of us. For example, when it's like 40 years, it has an option die or go through a 150 days change process, which is painful. And this is because it has the following problems. Its long beak becomes bent, its long and flexible talons can't grab prey, its old age and heavy wings become stuck and make it hard to fly. So first it flies high up to a mountain and sits on a nest, starts knocking its beak against the mountain rock till it falls off and waits for the growth of a new beak. And using the newly developed beak, it plucks out its talons so that new talons grow. When the new talons are in place, it plucks out the aged and heavy feathers, and then the new feathers will grow. After 5 months, it gets a new birth without physically dying, so it can survive for another 30 years of extended life. There are so many things to teach us. Psychological courage is a powerful weapon and can do miracles in many situations. So it's a great source of inspiration for all of us. And then we have Abraham Lincoln. Talent is more important than the nature of work. Psychological courage calls for acting boldly, taking advantage of the present situation, and not worry about the previous happenings. For example, Abraham Lincoln was the son of a cobbler, but he still became a US president. So many rich people were jealous since it undermined their greatness. After becoming president, Lincoln addressed every one present in the Senate, and a wealthy person interrupted his speech, lifted his shoe to show it to everyone, and shouted, Mr. Lincoln, even though you became the president, don't forget your dad. He made a living as a cobbler, These shoes which you see now are your dad's only. And then these words made people really happy who were jealous of Lincoln. When Lincoln stopped his speech and remained silent, tears rolled down his cheeks. He controlled his emotions and continued his speech in a calm and composed way, saying, I'm very thankful to you for reminding me of this. My dad is an expert in stitching shoes. Regardless of what field you express talent in, talent should be honored. I'm going to express my talents as the president of the country, just like my dad struggled to express his talents in his field. So he waited and addressed in a serious tone. As this gentleman pointed out, my dad stitches shoes for his family. My dad stitched shoes not for only for his family, but also for many other wealthy families. I inherited this great talent of stitching shoes. Shoe stitching, if the shoes stitched are not good in good condition or causing pain to your feet, then I can repair them. Hand them over to me. I've never been ashamed of stitching shoes. So everyone was dumbstruck. Everybody felt amazed based on this. And then we also have a few letters written from Swami Vivekananda called The More I Have Been Opposed, the more my energy has found expression. So basically, in the letter, Vivekananda says that the more I faced opposition, the more my energy has found expression. Princes have driven me and worshipped me. Laymen and priests have slandered me. But what is it? But they helped me act like a spring, or a springboard from which my energy could courage to overcome these obstacles. There were like so many crosses, tortures, and problems. And here's another letter. Be sincere and do your duty. Everything will come all right. So in reference of those attacks made in those missionary papers, but I never cared to see them. If you send me any of those, I'll throw them into the trash. A little agitation was necessary for our work. We had enough pain, no more attention to what people say about me, or good or bad. You go on with your work and remember that never one meets with evil who tries to do good, which is a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. And every day the people here are approaching me, and between you and me, I'm more of an influence here than you dream of. So everything should happen slowly. I told you before, and I write again that I will never pay attention to any criticism or praise in the newspapers. They are consigned to the fire. Do the same thing. Don't worry about whatever the newspaper says. Just be sincere and do your duty. Everything will come all right. Truth must win. Mystery misrepresentations are below your notice. Perfect silence is the best refutation to them, and I wish you to maintain the same. This is the Vivekananda's letter when he wrote it to his disciple Alasinga, who was in Madras at the time. And then there's a story about a donkey. Once a farmer's old donkey fell into a well. Initially, the farmer tried to save it, but he found it difficult, so he left the donkey. He thought it's not worth to retrieve the old donkey. The abandoned well needs to be covered so the others don't fall into it. So he invited his neighbors to help do it. They began to shovel mud into the well. The donkey realized what was happening and began to bray helplessly. But then after a while, the donkey gathered its psychological courage and decided to adopt a change process to survive. To realize there was no point in bringing and the need of the hour was to take advantage of the current situation. When each shovel of mud hit its back, the donkey shook off the mud and took a step on it. As the farmer and his neighbors continued to pour mud on top of the donkey, it went on shaking the mud off and took a step up. Finally, everybody was shocked at the donkey for its great psychological courage as it walked out of the well majestically. So the story conveys a great message to us on how to face the difficult situations in our life using psychological courage. Life is going to throw several challenges to us like mud that was thrown to the donkey. So we need to take all such challenges as stepping stones and need to shake them off like the donkey did in the story and rush to the next level. Our problems are the stepping stones, and the psychological courage is a powerful weapon to take advantage of the problems instead of lamenting helplessly. So that's our topic. We will start meditation. Everyone sit comfortably. Cross your legs. Clasp your hands. Just be with the breath.